commissioned this portrait of himself from a young artist who wasn't famous then, but he's famous today. He hadn't been back in Philadelphia, in the United States actually, for about 8 years when he does this. And I'm going to give you a hint who the artist is, because you'll know he is. So Judge Lewis will ask for this young artist at the same time he commissions this, if he wouldn't mind doing a copy of a picture he did 2 years earlier in 1795 in Germantown, which is today in Philadelphia, but wasn't then. And the young artist said, yes, this is the picture. So you know who that young artist is? It's the same artist who did the portrait of Washington on your dollar bill, Gilbert Stuart.
Wow.
And so here's why Washington and Lewis, Mr. and Mrs. Lewis are celebrating Washington being elected along with his house, is because Washington is a good friend of Judge Lewis. Now, what about the ratification of the Constitution? Well, Judge Lewis, just as George Washington's friend, he's also his confidant on legal matters during the writing of the Constitution. So important is Lewis in this capacity that when Alexander Hamilton shows up on Washington's doorstep here in Philadelphia and says, listen, we've got a real problem with this country. We don't have a ratified constitution, but we don't have a way to trade because we can't settle the debts because we had no banking system. We had no central bank. Every colony or state was on its own monetary system. So he came up with this plan, the assumption plan. Well, Washington scratched his head and he said, well, go on over to Lewis's house, which is on the corner of Walnut and 3rd Street. Downtown, it's diagonally across from the Merchants Exchange, if you know what that is. And he'll figure it out. Well, they walked around his backyard with Robert Morris, and the three of them came away with the, well, we call it today the assumption plan for our state's destiny, which gives us our banking system today. So now, here's a funny thing, an irony, that history sometimes plays. Judge Lewis helps out Alexander Hamilton in 1791 on the assumption plan. 1804, he's now on the legal counsel defending Ehrenberg. So there's a bit of an irony, but it shows you Judge Lewis's standing in the legal world at the time. Judge Lewis will be appointed as the first federal district judge, district attorney for the new state of Pennsylvania in 1789 when the Constitution was ratified. So he may have even been celebrating this. What he probably was celebrating even more is he turned down the Supreme Court position. And he got out of it. Washington wasn't real happy about that. But he got out of it. So he probably was celebrating, oh boy, I don't have to do that job. And then he'd become the second federal judge for the state of Pennsylvania as well. Now, in this room, we have another connection with George Washington besides this picture. Actually, this was done in Germantown, but it's now Philadelphia today, so we just call it Philadelphia. Now, Washington, the president's house here, corner 5th or 6th and Market, had dining room set in. There's 5 pieces of that dining room set. It's 15-piece dining room set. Big. 5 pieces left in the country. Here we go. Tour of the White House. 1 made it to Washington's home in Virginia, Mount Vernon. The other 2 never left Philadelphia. In fact, they're right here in front of you, these 2 chairs.
Wow.
So on different upholstery, of course, possibly the rump of the first president may have sat on them. Even the rump of Alexander Hamilton might have sat on them. Lewis might have even sat on one of these. So we can't show you any of Lewis's furniture, but maybe he sat on one of these 2 chairs. Our furniture in the house is all period, all old, but a lot of it is connected to historic people like this, which makes it more interesting furniture in this house.
Nice.
Cool.
Yeah. Take pictures now. Come on.
You're allowed to?
Oh, yes. Just don't use any flash.